Welcome everyone to the live coverage of the very first Aeronis-7 Block 3 demo flight. Standing on the pad is the newest experimental vehicle developed by Aeronis, built to test the next generation of flight systems and recovery technologies. Because this is a demonstration mission, today's focus is on validating the upgraded avionics, deployable landing legs, and the new fin control system. This flight marks the official beginning of the Block 3 era. As the countdown continues, teams are closely monitoring the vehicle's new systems for the first time in a live flight environment. Engineers report that the fin control surfaces, landing leg mechanisms, and guidance computers are all responding normally. Since this is a demo mission, the objective today is to collect as much flight data as possible while verifying the overall stability and performance of Block 3 during ascent. Propellant loading is now entering its final stage as Block 3 remains stable on the launch pad. Flight controllers continue reviewing telemetry from the upgraded avionics package. While the new fin control system stays locked and ready for ascent, weather conditions remain within acceptable limits. And teams are preparing to transition the vehicle into terminal count for today's demonstration mission. T-35 second, Aeronis-7 Block 3 is now transitioning into launch startup. Flight computers are entering final guidance configuration, and the vehicle has switched to internal power. The pad is clear, telemetry remains stable,
here 20 seconds away
and
from
all
liftoff.
systems continue to report green as the countdown approaches the final seconds before liftoff.
9, 8, T-5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
T plus 10 seconds. Aeronis-7 Block 3 continues climbing away from the launch pad with all engines performing normally. The vehicle is maintaining a stable trajectory as it pushes through the lower atmosphere, while telemetry from the upgraded avionics and fin control systems remains healthy. Early ascent data is looking good as Block 3 begins its first demonstration flight.
Aeronis-7 Block 3 is now approaching max Q, the point of highest aerodynamic pressure during ascent. The vehicle continues accelerating smoothly while onboard systems carefully manage structural loads and engine performance. Telemetry from the new fin control system remains stable, and guidance continues tracking the planned trajectory as the rocket prepares to pass through the most demanding phase of flight.
Max Q.
Block 3 has successfully passed through max Q. The vehicle handled the period of maximum aerodynamic stress without any issues, and all systems continue to perform within expected limits. Engine performance remains stable, structural loads are nominal, and telemetry from the upgraded guidance and fin control systems continues to look excellent as the rocket climbs higher towards space. As Block 3 continues its ascent, the mission's primary objective remains focused on validating the vehicle's reusable first-stage systems. Today's flight is designed to test the upgraded flight software, fin control surfaces, and deployable landing leg hardware in real flight conditions. Engineers are collecting large amounts of data during ascent to better understand vehicle performance before future recovery and landing attempts later in the Block 3 program.
Aeronis-7 Block 3 is now approaching main engine cutoff. First stage propellant levels are nearing the planned shutdown point as guidance systems prepare for stage separation. The reusable booster continues performing normally, with stable engine output and clean telemetry across all major systems. In just moments, the first stage will complete its ascent burn and begin the next
and
phase
acquisition
of the
of
demonstration
signal
mission.
Houston and New Orleans.
Booster engine cut off.
Stage separation.
Boost lock shut off. Shift and
We're seeing an issue with the first stage booster after separation. Telemetry shows the stage failed to restart its engines for the planned recovery burn and has begun rotating uncontrollably. Flight controllers are monitoring unstable attitude data, and the flight termination system has been activated for safety. Although the booster has been lost, the second stage remains healthy and continues the mission on a stable trajectory. The second stage continues performing normally as it approaches payload fairing separation. With the vehicle now climbing beyond the denser layers of the atmosphere, conditions are nearly ready for jettison. Today's payload is a mass simulator fuel tank used for testing purposes, allowing engineers to gather valuable flight and structural data during this first Block 3 demonstration mission. All second stage systems continue to operate within expected limits.
Fairing separation.
And we have fairing separation. The payload fairing has been successfully jettisoned as Block 3 continues climbing on a stable trajectory. With the dense atmosphere now behind the vehicle, the mass simulator fuel tank is exposed to space for the remainder of the mission. Telemetry remains clean, second stage performance continues to look strong, and engineers are gathering important flight data during this first demonstration flight of the Block 3 vehicle. As Block 3 continues its second stage burn, the mission remains focused on delivering the test payload into a higher demonstration orbit. Today's mass simulator fuel tank is not intended for operational use, but instead serves as a valuable test article for studying vehicle performance, orbital insertion accuracy, and payload handling in space. Engineers are continuing to monitor guidance, propulsion, and structural data as the mission progresses smoothly toward SEC-01. The second stage continues accelerating smoothly as Block 3 climbs higher into its planned orbit. Current trajectory data remains within expected limits, and guidance systems continue making small adjustments to maintain accuracy. Engineers are especially focused on collecting long-duration flight data from the upgraded avionics and propulsion systems, helping prepare the vehicle for more advanced reusable missions in the future. Block 3 is now approaching second engine cutoff 1 as the vehicle nears its planned preliminary orbit. Second stage performance continues to remain stable, with guidance and propulsion systems operating normally throughout the burn. Following SEC-01, the mission will enter a coast phase to prepare for later orbital operations and continue gathering valuable flight data during this first Block 3 demonstration mission.
Welcome back. Block 3 has now completed its coast phase and is preparing for the second engine start. SES-2 will place the vehicle into a higher demonstration orbit, allowing engineers to further evaluate second-stage performance and orbital accuracy during long-duration flight conditions. Guidance systems remain stable, telemetry continues to look healthy, and all major systems are operating normally as the mission enters another critical phase. The payload deployment sequence has now been completed successfully. The mass simulator fuel tank has separated cleanly from the second stage and is now traveling independently in its planned high demonstration orbit. Telemetry confirms stable vehicle performance following deployment, while engineers continue collecting valuable orbital and system data from this first Block 3 demonstration mission. With payload deployment complete, today's Block 3 demonstration mission comes to an end. Despite the loss of the first stage booster during recovery testing, the second stage successfully completed all primary mission objectives and delivered the payload into its planned orbit. The data collected today will help shape the future of the Block 3 program. Thank you for joining us, and we'll see you again on the next mission. SSSS-GPS-DVD-7 Mission 2. As Aeronis continues developing reusable flight systems, today's mission marks an important step toward more advanced operations in the future. Engineers will now spend the coming weeks reviewing telemetry, analyzing recovery data, and preparing improvements for future Block 3 flights. The road ahead remains challenging, but today's results provide valuable experience for the next generation of Aeronis vehicles. Goodbye everyone. See you next time.